Arnold.
Hey, welcome to the Dean Arnold podcast. Today is June 10th. We'll talk about the June 10th stuff today. And I'm running for Congress, District 3 of Tennessee. Vote for me on November 3rd. Give to my campaign, deanarnoldforcongress.com. Let's see. I got various notes, but I didn't do a good job of getting notes going today. But let's see. I have a little list of things that I'm supposed to say at the beginning of the show. I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. That's one of my mottos. And today, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about family history. We're going to talk about paternal lines. We're going to talk about Arnold's. How far back can I go? But first, let's get to the better stuff, which is the daily scripture and the daily saint on the calendar today. So, I'm supposed to be getting better at this. I think I am. Boom. Romans 4 is on the church calendar today. Let's click to it. For the promise that he would be the heir of the world, it's talking about Abraham, was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if those who are of the law are heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of no account. Okay, we're not going to read all this because it gets into a lot of stuff. But it was faith that was accounted to him for righteousness. So it's getting into who are his descendants, and is it his descendants by genetics or by faith? And Romans really concentrates on faith. And then in Galatians, it gets real specific, and it says the seed of Abraham is Jesus Christ himself. For the word seed is not plural, but singular. And so it's all those who have faith in Jesus Christ, like us and the Gentiles, that are the true descendants of Abraham, not the genetic descendants. If what's in Israel today even is genetic descendants, there's a lot of controversy about that. But that's kind of what we're got going on in Romans. That's all we're going to talk about today. Matthew 7 in the Gospel. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, cast out demons in your name, and done many wonders in your name? And I will declare to him, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness. Okay, it's a heavy scripture. Now, the larger context is the people who have done his will are the people who care for the poor and take care of the homeless and are interested in visiting those that are in prison, and all the good works that we should do to those who need such help. That's who Jesus is looking for. He's not looking for the miracle workers. So that's kind of a twist on things. We don't usually think that way, but that is indeed the way it is. So just keep that feather in your cap when you get all excited about someone you know, or even yourself, who's healing people or casting out demons. That's not really the ultimate name of the game. Okay, saint of the day. Let's get to that. All right. So what we'll do is copy and paste. Okay, Venerable Sylvanus, the schema monk of the Kiev Far Caves. So before we mention this short story of Sylvanus, the Kiev Caves, that rings a bell, right? Kiev's the capital of Ukraine. Well, if you don't know it, Ukraine is a very, very rich historic Christian country. It's actually where Russia first became Christian. This Prince Vladimir, the king of all the Rus, converted to Christianity, and that's a whole story. That's in the 10th century. And And then there's been this very rich historical tradition. Many monasteries and godly people and saints come out of Kiev. Here's um, a schema monk in the caves. Are they giving us a year? Um, I don't see the year, but I think it's pretty. Oh, 13th, 14th century. And what you aren't hearing in the news, although Tucker Carlson has given it a lot of good play, good for him, is that these historic Christians in Kiev are being persecuted. They're being beaten. They're being thrown out of their churches. Some of their churches are being burned and desecrated, and they go up and they do foul things on the altar. It's a real persecution going on in Kiev, and we shouldn't put up with it. You're not hearing that part of the story. The holy Shmima monk Sylvanus, one time, by the power of prayer, he held fast to the spot robbers who had come into the monastery garden, and for 3 days they were not able to move. So he kind of did some kind of judo move on them, some kind of matrix move where he's like, stop. And so they just stopped and froze for 3 days. When they repented, the monk then freed them. So that's kind of a crazy story, huh? Shemima monk Sylvanus. Let us now move to one more of the stories today. This one is the last. That was the first story of the day. And this one will be the last one. Saint Neoniscos the Martyr. Okay. 280, 300 AD, way early on when Roman Emperor Diocletian is persecuting Christians, a female slave denounced the most wise and handsome athlete of Christ, Neoniscos. The ruler tortured him, the ruler of the Roman Empire, or that governor, whatever, tortured him for 7 days in various ways, trying to make him deny Christ. When the tyrant saw that he was unable to do so, he ordered him to be put to death. So you got this good-looking young man, a female slave denounced him, maybe for the same reasons as the saint yesterday. She wanted him and she couldn't get him. As Neoniscos was led to the place of execution, he noticed the slave girl who betrayed him. He noticed her in the crowd that had followed him. Then Saint Neoniscos made signs of her to approach him. And when she came near, he gave her his gold ring as a token of his gratitude, because by her complaint, he would now draw near to Christ, whom he had desired for so long, and he would inherit everlasting life. When they arrived at the place of execution, he prayed for a time, and then they beheaded him. All right, these are just different kind of people than us, right? Not only are they willing to be martyred for Christ, but they're excited about it. He thanks the girl who betrays him because it's going to make him draw near to Christ closer. I mean, we're just not in this league, folks. This is a whole different area. We may get there, but man, very few of us have a sense of gratitude for what these early Christians did for us. Hundreds of thousands, millions, how many were martyred in order for us to enjoy the type of Christianity that we enjoy today. All right. Holy Neoniscos. Pray to God for us. All right. Let's check comments and questions. I see a little red button, which tells me we may have one. Yes, we do. Let's put it up on the screen. Well, I try to put it up on the screen, but I still can't see it. AI viewers, passkey.com, unknown space. Looks like my comment is AI. Get out of here. All right. Subject of the day: family history, paternity. Your dad. Who's your daddy's daddy? Is I think of the way I'm trying to title it. Who is your daddy's daddy? Do you know? Well, I'm in a family history. Always have been. Most of the rest of my family is not into it the way I am. It is what it is. But I'm asking people all the time about their grandparents, about their great grandparents. And what I find is that most people know who their grandparents are, where they lived, and what they did. And most people don't know who their great grandparents were, their names, where they lived, or what they did. So when you go from grandparents to great grandparents, people just don't know, but they should. I'm hearing in some cultures it's like mandatory to go 7 generations. I think that was true in Ethiopia. Not sure if they pulled it off. But I know because I'm into it. So let's start with my father. Okay, I've got I think I got to bring in so I got to stop the screen here. Come on, Dean. You are choking, sir. I'll bring in a new share screen. There it is. Boom. That's good. All right. You should be seeing this. Yeah, there you go. So those are my first 4 Arnold paternal line ancestors. To your far right there, you have Mr. Jack Arnold, my dad. He died in 2005. He was a preacher, quite a guy. His dad, Clifford Arnold, first part of the 20th century. You can see he's got a saxophone there. He was the head of a band, a big band in the Roaring 20s. He was quite a dude as well. His father, my great grandfather, was Clarence Arnold, who everybody says looked like Gregory Peck. And he was a home builder. He built like 18, 20 homes heading from Oklahoma to California with his bare hands. And he was a dude, had a lot of kids. And my grandfather said he didn't have a lazy bone in his body. I guess not. He's building houses all the time. His father, to the far left, William Henry Arnold, who I don't know as much about. He was a farmer in Oklahoma. Before that, in Iowa, he was also a hog farmer, besides crops. And that's about all I know about William Henry Arnold. So, it is what it is. Let's see if I can move to the next part. And let's see if that's working for you. It is not working for you. That makes me mad. All right. So we've got to figure out a way to get rid of that. Okay. Stop it. Share the screen. And do that. Ooh, yes. Working. So these are the next 4 of my paternal line. Far right is William Arnold, holding a young kid, which is John Arnold. John Arnold died at age 25. Don't have a picture of him. His father was another John Arnold who came out of Virginia and migrated to Kentucky. His father was James Arnold, who also came out of Virginia and migrated to Kentucky. He was the first European settler west of the Kentucky River. He was out there with Daniel Boone. And he had 16,000 freaking acres over there. Okay. His father, to the far left, the oldest known ancestor of Arnold's that I've got, is Stephen Arnold. Stephen Arnold also came out of Virginia, Southwest Virginia, right below Lexington. There's still a place there called Arnold's Valley. And Stephen took his son and grandson, and they migrated over to Kentucky. Stephen Arnold shows up in 1742 in Arnold's Valley. That's really the first we hear of him anywhere. And he was the buffer between Scotch-Irish buffer between Indians and colonialists, so the colonialists didn't get killed by Indians. Here, Mikey, he'll do it. So Stephen goes over and does that. And for his efforts, they give him 2,000 acres up there. So that was kind of nice. Stephen Arnold. How did I get these renderings of Stephen, James, and John? Well, I had a great friend who proposed about 10 years ago, Gordon Wetmore. We were real buddies. He was the chairman of the American Portrait Society. which was the largest portrait society in the world. And Gordon founded that. And he was in Chattanooga, and we'd hang out at the coffee shop every day. And he did cartoons for my publication, and we were just thick as thieves. When I was doing a genealogical video project, I needed renderings of these oldest three and Arnold ancestors. And so I showed him about 20 of the progeny, this my generation and generation or two older than that. And he came up with these composites that he felt like would be the type of people that would have ancestors like that. So that was pretty cool. So that's how I got these last three renderings, because I don't have any photos, that's for sure. Okay. Trying to get across the ocean to where Stephen Arnold came from. My seventh great grandfather. I'd like to get to the 8th, the 9th, the 10th. Well, just was kind of stymied at that point. And, I knew they were Scotch Irish. I'm not sure how I knew that they were Scotch Irish, but I knew that they were Scotch Irish. And so I looked over in, let's see what we can do here. We're going to have to stop that, bring in a new one, share the screen, and let's go with, this will be fine. I knew it was over there somewhere. And when I was traveling around Europe for a time, I spent some time in Northern Ireland, Derry, which used to be called Londonderry. The Scotch Irish basically are this phenomenon. People don't understand that they're not really Scotch and they're not really Irish. They're probably mostly English. There might be some Scotch and Irish. But basically, the militant and pretty rough English who built the world's largest empire, and they weren't known for compassion. They were trying to ethnically cleanse Northern Ireland or Ireland itself because they were tired of the Irish. So they would send a bunch of rascals from Middle England over to Northern England and try to replace them. Probably that's what Stephen Arnold was doing. But they hung out in Derry and Londonderry and other places in Northern Ireland. So I went over there, looked around, poked around, didn't find much. But I did learn that Stephen Arnold was married to Jane Finney, and I can find her in Londonderry in the 1600s and early 1700s. Her father married a woman named Anne Arnold. I think his name was Stephen Finney. So Stephen married Anne Arnold. They might have been cousins, or it means that Stephen might have married his cousin. I looked around, couldn't find anything else, but it looks pretty clear that Stephen was in Northern Ireland at that time. He probably moved from Middle England, but we don't know. Middle England is like the rascals. They had no loyalty to country or king because the border was always moving between Scotland and England. And so all they cared about was kin. And they always had arms. They weren't going to be caught without having arms. And all those people, because the mountains in that area look similar to the Appalachian Mountains in America, when they all migrated to America, they kind of naturally moved to the Appalachian Mountains. So the Appalachian people, the Scotch Irish, they've always got arms. They care about kin more than they do about the government. They're a bunch of rebellious rascals. And that's how kind of the Appalachian culture was developed. Little side note, somebody did some geological research one time. It was fascinating, but there was this green element called serpentine that they found underneath the Appalachian Mountains. And then the only other place it's found in the world is going through the border of Scotland and England and up through Ireland and all that. And so the theory is that way back when the continents separated, you can tell when you look at a map that, Africa seems to fit into South America, et cetera, et cetera. So it looks like everything was together and it split apart. but it looks like the area where the Serpentine was split apart and became North America, and now it's under the Appalachians. And so, literally, the Appalachian people were coming from an area where they had actually, their forefathers had actually been. Literally, the land is the same. Not sure if I explained that right. If not, leave a comment and I will try to explain it a little bit better. Anyway, so who is the next ancestor after Stephen Arnold? Well, I really haven't found it yet. I have made a semi breakthrough, and we'll talk about it. So right here, what we gonna do? We're gonna do this. Okay. Boom. So I had a little semi breakthrough on ancestry.com. I recommend it. It costs a little bit of money, but you can get on it for 2-3 months, do all your research, and then get off of it. I think they asked like $40 a month, which I think is a little too steep. But you know, they did their model of free, and then money. But ancestry.com helped me find somebody named Stephen Arnott. Maybe it's Stephen Arnol, I think, Arnol in some places, and maybe that's why I was having such a hard time finding a connection. But this guy's born. It's not a born; it's baptism. It's a christening in 1717, which really works well with my Stephen Arnold. And ancestry tells me that his father was likely named Stephen as well. And he got baptized in Barnsley, Yorkshire, England, is what they say. All right, let's look at that. I got a map of that for you. So I gotta go back over here and do this for you to see the map. There it is. Okay, so the map, Barnsley is it's in between Leeds and Sheffield on this map here. So a little bit south of Leeds. It's near York, which was famously near the border of Scotland and England. Liverpool's on the left. A little farther down, you get to Birmingham. A little farther down, you get to London. Let's bring it back up again. Let me see if I can. Okay, over here. See up here in this area here, Londonderry. So Stephen Arnold likely migrated from just below Leeds near York up to Londonderry and then came to the New World. Did he? We don't know for sure. Now, how do we know about this christening? Now, this is pretty cool. Hold on to your horses here, folks, because somebody somewhere, some wonderful soul, made photographs of christening records at the St. Mary's Barnsley Church in England. And this is what that document looks like. Hard to read, whatever, but let's go ahead and scroll down here a little bit. Let's get to the top. Let's make it a little bit bigger. I can do that. And you'll see the first name on there. At the top, it says a true copy of the register belonging to the something parochial in Barnsley baptisms. And the first name listed is Stephen, son of Stephen, or no, or are not. We're not sure. Baptized, can't see it here, but must be 1717 because somebody who knows is telling us that. So that's the actual christening record of my 7th great grandfather, we think, christened because his father, my 8th great grandfather, Stephen Arnold, brought him to the church and had him baptized. Were they real Christians? Who knows? Were they nominal Christians? For sure. Were they card-carrying Christians? I'd say so. They're doing the baptism thing. We'll let God sort all that out. Now, the next thing we want to point out is that I have found, thanks to that wonderful um, research tool called Wikipedia, that this is the church that he was baptized in. It was built in the 1400s. So this is the very church that my eighth great grandfather, Stephen Arnold, brought his son, Stephen Arnold, the infant, to get baptized. Right there in Barnsley, England, Yorkshire County, England. By the way, it's kind of near Nottingham, and there's a lot of Arnold action going on in Nottingham, which is, Robin Hood and Sherwood Forest and all that. So I got a lot of that to look into, which might be interesting as well. Sorry about that. All right. Last thing to say about all this, just doing various research, and I'm not sure if there's anything to this or not, but somebody has found this this house right here, the Lakin House at Arnott Hill Park, once the home of but this is in Barnsley, I guess. I need to figure out where that is, but it's some ancient house that has to do with Arnold's. So I got to take me a trip to England. I got to go check out the church where Stephen was baptized, christened. I got to find this house where maybe he lived or some Arnold built it. I don't know. Arnold, by the way, is a German Teutonic word that means brave as an eagle. And Arnwield, I think Aaronwield. I forget which one is brave and which one is eagle, but Aaron's probably brave and Wield is probably eagle. Aaronwield turns into Arnold, and so they were probably warriors and they were brave as an eagle. As far as we know, last names didn't really develop until like the 1100s, 1200s at the earliest. And so back then it had just been Stephen the Warrior or John the Warrior. Well, at some point it was like Stephen, the one who's brave as an eagle, Stephen Arnwield, Stephen Arnold. So at some point they started calling my people's Arnold. And before that, they just called him by the first name, Dean by the bridge, Dean Bridge. Dean by the guy, son of the guy who used to live by the bridge. So Bridgeton. But anyway, there you go. Let's go back to comments. Looks like we don't have any comments yet. Comments and questions, welcome. Don't have them yet. I'm Dean Arnold. I'm running for Congress. Donate to my campaign, DeanArnoldForCongress.com. I'm bringing sanity to an insane world. And right now we're just doing daily podcasts. This is, you're asking, why am I doing a podcast on this? Well, this is all about getting to know me. And if you want to get to know me, got to tell you about my daddy and his daddy and his daddy's daddy and his daddy's 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 daddy. And if you don't know that stuff, you should know it. Okay. Final tips. You guys got to know your heritage, man. It's all part of identity and all that kind of thing. And you need to get into it. And the most important thing you can do, because time is of the essence and it is urgent, is you need to interview, preferably recording it. You need to interview the oldest living relatives. Get them to tell you everything they know, who's descended from who and who's relative is who's relative, but mostly the stories. Get the stories and the anecdotes, because when they die, it all goes and you're left without your heritage. So interview your oldest living relatives, first of all. Then you can do ancestry and all that. That'll help that, but that doesn't get you the stories. Find you the good stories. And maybe somebody's got something up and dusty in the attic, some kind of, journal or some kind of memoirs or some kind of collection or scrapbook or something that'll take you, hyperspace you to a whole nother level, which would be nice. That happened to me once or twice. So that is what I would recommend. All right, I got to look at my little list here because sometimes I forget the thing. Today's June 10th. All right, this is our 10th episode. And I think we're all good for today. I think we've handled everything we need to handle. Now we got to get to our little song as we head out. We got to turn up the thing. And man, I don't know how all that works, but here we go. Dean Arnold.